Right in Torah, whatever happens in the world around us. Gemara. Which daf are we in? Where are we, rabbis? Which daf? Toshma, 4 lines from the Sadi Daled Amud Beis. Sadi Daled Amud Beis, 94 Beis. Sadi Daled Amud Beis. Toshma, yeah, 2 is only for ArtScroll people. Okay, this Shiur's Leilu Nishma. I miss him going the door. Shema Yosef Chaim ben Yaakov Yisrael. Leilu Nishma Sav Mer Menachem Ben Akiva Ruth Bas Shalom Yisrael Bas Moshe Rafus Rivka Bas Yehudis. Avraham ben Saul. Avraham ben his mother. Avraham ben Yehudis. So Bas Nechama Bas Shachol Yisrael. Toshma. We said yesterday that there's a thing called Takanas HaShavim. What's Takanas HaShavim? First, my wife, Esther Foreman, Bas Shoshana Malka. That Toshma. The story is like this. What did we say about Takanas HaShavim yesterday? Takanas HaShavim means that we have a Takanah. Chachamim established an idea. If a Gazlan, who's a mega Gazlan, who wants to do teshuva, he is sincere and he wants to do teshuva. And now, if you make it a condition with him, if you want to do teshuva, you have to return all the objects that you have at home, then he's going to be left with nothing and he will not do teshuva. Says Rabbi arch-thieves, he will steal more. He'll say, okay, anyhow, he cannot do teshuva, he's giving up. And therefore we said, if he comes to you and he's a mega ganav and he's sincere, and he wants to do teshuva, do not accept his gzela, but be moichelim. It's not a chiyuv, but it's an option. It's a better option. Now, I have something in hashkafa to say, but maybe I'll wait till the end of the sugya, and then I have something to answer you people who claim that it pays to be a ganav. I have something to say about it, but we'll wait with that. Toshma, that will be the cherry on top. 4th Wadlan, Toshma. Here, listen to I think it's a brisa. A gazlonim. Umalve beribis. These are again gazlonim, professional ones. They are the ones who make their livelihood from gzela. Umalve beribis, people who lend with interest. Afal pi shegovu machzirin. Even if they already collected, the malve beribis, if they did not yet collect the debt with the ribis, then of course they have to tear the shtar, tear it apart, and that's it. No ribis. Ribis is a terrible avera. And even if they were goive, they already got the ribis, they collected the ribis, machzirin, they have to give it back. But wait a second, don't you realize that I'm cheating you? I'm erasing a word here. The Brisa says, hagazlonim, the thieves also, umalve beribis, even though they're collected already, they give back. Fact the Gemara, what are you talking about? Yeah, you're talking, doesn't make sense. Gazlonin, mai shegovu ika. When it comes to gazlonin, how does collection have to do the price of cheese, right? You can't say the gazlon already collected. I gozul, gozul, loy gozul, loy gozul. Either they stole or they didn't. There's no stage called collection by the gazlonim before and after. The gazlon either steals or doesn't steal. He's not a white-collar guy, as a whole thing with a lawyer, with a shtar, with a collection. He just steals. So how can you say gazlonim and then use the word govu? Just doesn't stick, right? Elaima must be, you have to explain it differently, must be the following. Elaima, hagazlonin, umay ni umal v'ribios, a gazlan, namely a malve beribis, it's the same guy. A gazlan, a white-collar thief who is a malve beribis, because ribis is halachically author, and I said heter iska, stam ribis is also, it's like gzela. Afal pi shegovu machzirin. Even if the malve beribis already gave back, you give it back. What do you mean, machzir? Excuse me, no. Even though he collected, the malve beribis collected the debt with the ribis, with that crazy gray market thing, lolenu, machzirin, he has to give back the sum that he got. Yeah, the lender, yeah, that shark, the loan shark, got the extra money. He has to give it back. That's not good because we just said that what? They were not supposed to, he's not supposed to give it back to me, not Michas V'Shalom, to whoever borrowed. He's not supposed to give it to the borrower, right? And here you're saying that he is supposed to give it to the borrower. What's going on? The malve beribis is like the gazlan. He's the guy who made his parnosa from this terrible thing. But now we say, just leave him alone and let him start a clean slate, unless there's Beis Din, unless there are 5 conditions. But here we see not like that. Here we see that he is supposed to give it back to us, the victims, the borrowers, and it doesn't seem like we have to say no. And says the Gemara, no. Amri machzirin ve'en mekablin mehen. They're from their side supposed to give it back. They're supposed to suggest to give it back to the customer, and they have to be sincere about it. But we, the victims, are not supposed to accept it from them. He says, please, please, please take it. And I'm supposed to say, no, 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 thank you. Very much like, like Anglo etiquette. I say, yes, yes, yes. And he says, no, 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 no. Would like to see it? No, it's okay. Yeah, that kind of thing. My friend told me whenever his father-in-law come to him for Shabbos, it's always the same ceremony. He always tells them, no, Zaidi, Tati, whatever, sit in the front. You sit at the head of the table. And they all say, no, 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 you sit at the head of the table. And he sits at the end of the table. It's like a kavua ceremony of both sides showing respect to each other. So, frag the Gemara, Ella, Lama Machzirin, let's be sincere. Why do they have to even try and give back? At the end of the day, we, the victims, Chas v'Sholom, are not supposed to get it from them. Is this just to show? And it says the Gemara, Lo tzesidei shamayim. They're supposed to initiate what? To initiate, yes, the return of the ribis or the gzela, and that is the only way that Hashem will forgive them if they sincerely are willing to give it back. Now, 2 points. Point number 1, again, I'm just refreshing your memory here. If they lechatchila resist, if the lechatchila don't want to give back, don't show any goodwill, then we do go after them. If it's a bad boy, we go after him and we take him to Beis Din. A good boy who wants to return, first of all, is not just a lip service. It's not stam shtuyot, because he may fall on a victim that is interested in taking it back, right? In not taking suing him and getting what he deserves. So it's not just a joke. When he says, I want to give it back to you, you offer the guy a seat in the bus, he may say yes. So you better be sincere about it. Yeah, okay. So then yesterday I went to the keynote of the Gro, about Reb Chaim Kanevsky. So surprisingly, there were like, a lot of people there. So Bacher offered me his seat. I don't know if it was nice, it's my white beard. I don't know what went on there. I think it's a white beard. The kids are now, secondly, I don't remember who says what. I think it's the Meiri that I did 2 days ago. And he says that after 2 or 3 times, then we are supposed to get it back from the Ganav. Yeah, let's say the Ganav says, I want to give you back what I stole from you. And you have all the conditions. This is a mega Ganav who wants to do tshuva, and this is a bottomless pit. You say no. He says, yes, please take it from me. 2 or 3 times. Then at the end, you are supposed to take it from him. If he sees very sincere and for his own conscience, he really, really wants to get out of this, to get it out of his system, then according to some Rishonim, he's supposed to get it back. I did not yet see Shulchan Aruch about it, yeah, but Bli Neder, I will hopefully today. Okay? Yes, you're supposed to be moichel. Yeah, in simple words, you're supposed to be moichel. And we encourage mechila. You mean 3 times? Oh, I don't remember if it's 2 or 3. That's why I don't want to say bedafka, but the concept is similar. Toshma, come in here. Toshma. Haroim, roim. What are roim? What does that mean in Hebrew? Haroim, the shepherds. Shepherds are what? Are gazlonim. Why are shepherds gazlonim? Rabbi Tzvi remembers everything he learns. Very good. Because they graze in other people's lands, as we saw in there's a big rabbi at the end of Perek Shvi. You're not supposed to bechlal be a royatzon if you live in the land of Israel or in other, densely populated area by Jews. Yeah, like the tri-state. You can't be a royatzon in the middle of Manhattan. Yeah, it's going to graze. It's a very good grazing area, right? The kids are aroim. Aroim, those that are shepherds. They are gaboim. Doesn't mean the guy who doesn't give you aliyah. When you had a granddaughter and you didn't get the shlishi. Not that guy. Gaboim means they are tax collectors. And Rashi says something very, science fiction. Look at Rashi. Goel Shomelech, Ligbas Kesef Gulgata Arnona. You know the word Arnona? They take taxes Arnona. The Shaklit Fei, they take too much and they take it to their own pockets. That used to happen in the past, not today. Yeah. Can I stand on the soapbox for a second? I once went to a certain section in the area where they take money from, that's the thing, is the dealing with taking and how much they're taking. And the lady proudly said to her friend that she had a very nice trip to Croatia. Anyway, I wonder from which money. Anyway, not from what I paid to the area, that's for sure. Anyway, so then So haroim, those who steal because they're shepherds. Gaboim are those who collect too much. Of course, you have to pay your taxes, but they take more than they're supposed to, and they give it to, they shave it to their own pockets. The same idea. Moches is the one who takes the meches, the one who stands by the, by the customs in the airport or in the port. Yeah, the other ones who take away your perfume, so it shouldn't go to the plane. What do they do with it? I don't know. The kids are. I wonder. We know what happens to the perfume that they confiscate from you. Yeah, when you don't look. Yeah, the kids are. They have a lot of money of the public, all for the for the greater good. Tshuvos and kosher. It's hard for them to do tshuva. Yeah, why? Because they stole from so many people, they don't know where to start. It's not like you stole from Reuven, Shimon, Levi, and Yehuda, the neighbors. You know how many people pass through the airport? You know how many bottles of perfume the guy has? The whole store he can open already. And he doesn't know everyone who goes through the airport or everybody in Bet Shemesh that she thinks that he didn't park right. More soapbox today, I'm sorry. You know what they do in the area? If you park near red and white, but you're on blue and white, you should know that your jaw's going to be on the floor. They take the photo that looks as if you're on the red and white, even though you're not. And it was once in court, and the guy proved it. They do it. So when you're between red and white, blue and white, I'm saying with Sarabim, you have to park far from the red and white, because if there's, between red and white and your back wheel, it looks like you touches them, and then they lie to the outright lie, and they only send you to be left for 3 months, so you can't prove it. Just you should know. Okay, weiter. The kids, sir. I'm sorry. That's it. I'm done with my soapbox. Too much today. Here, David came. I have to be serious now. So now, Tshuvos and Kosher, the kids are all these people that ganvet from so many people. How can they do tshuva? Because they stole from so many. How can they return now to thousands of people they don't even know? Umachzirin lamakirin. To those that they know that they stole from, they give back what they have to give back. Let's say, the lady of the Chanaya, she knows that she outright lied and she knows the person. So she has to give her back 250 shekels. In other words, if those that they know that they lied to them they give back. But in any event, it's still difficult. If we say that these people who are mega ganovim, we are 5 lines from bottom of the page. So the Daldim base. Machzir and Lamakirin. Why do they have to give to anybody at all? Because what did we say? Because they're not really supposed to give back. Answers the Gemara the same answer. In spite of Takanas HaShavim, Amri, they say, the Bnei HaYeshiva said, Amri means the Yeshiva people, the Amoraim, Machzirin, then Mekablin Mehem, which means they are supposed to suggest, to sincerely offer to give back to whoever they know, whatever, the 250 shekels here and there and the other, and the bottles of perfume, whatever they stole. But we, from our side, say, it's okay. If you, the person working for the Gviyah will start doing tshuva, that's a bottomless pit to say, leave it alone. And you're encouraged as a victim not to make a big deal out of it. Frag the Gemara again, the same question as before. So why are they supposed to suggest? Is that just a nice etiquette show? Yes. No. Why are they giving back? Lots of sidei shamayim. Because again, if they don't even offer, if they don't even show any goodwill on their side, which means you, my friends, if they exploit the Takanas HaShavim and say, okay, I stole my whole life, I don't even have to do tshuva, I don't have to even give back anything, not even to suggest, not even to offer, no. Then he's not Yetzidei Shamayim. He's not Yetzidei Shamayim. Even if the other person was Moichel, he has to suggest sincerely and really mean that he would like to pay potentially, and then you mitzidcha say no, in order to help him start a clean slate. And Chanami, if Bezdin sees that he exploits it, Mistama, they would force him. Bezdin is very flexible, Hefker, Bezdin, Hefker, but that's basically the story. However, now we have a new question which you didn't have before. Give me a second. Right? Why is their tshuva difficult? If you tell me that they don't have to really give back, why did you say that the guy who stole from everybody in the airport, millions of people, because he took too much customs, so why is tshuva and kosher? It's very easy. He can just make a public statement and say, I'm sorry, and finished. He doesn't really have to give back to each and every person. Practically, he doesn't have to give each and every dollar and cent and perfume. So why is it so hard to do tshuva? Another question, Ema Seifa, it says what? In the Seifa, it says, in the second part of the same price, it says, She'ema Kirin, what do they really do with the money of the people that they don't know? Let's say 89% of their customers or the victims, they don't know who they are. Now he does tshuva. Yeah, he wears a hat. So now what? So what will they do with the money of all the people that they stole from so many unknown people, from all the anonymous people? They do, and that's halacha l'maaseh. Yasvein tzorchei tzibur. they have to build with it, buy with it, they have to purchase with it, and do the tzorkei tzibur, the needs of the public. In other words, you stole from the public, you have to give back to the community, give back to the public. For example, says Rav Chizda, here, all kinds of pits are actually positive. They mean water. They mean water fountains, water wells. Wells of water is in Eretz Yisrael. That's what you need more than anything else. Everywhere around the world, you need more water than anything else. So they should build an irrigation system or drinking water systems for the public for free, obviously, as a way. We stole from so many people. We don't know from who. So it's not exactly the best teshuva, but they can give back to the public. But again, the question is why? Why do they have to give back to the public? Isn't it enough to make a public suggestion and offer? Do they really have to invest thousands or millions in a new irrigation system? We just said no, and now we say yes. 1 second, Ellen, we're in the middle, but Ellen has been. You happy with me or no? Yeah. Are we friends? Yeah. I'm listening. What
are the shepherds stealing?
Oh.
What's the sheep?
So you get the question? You see l'choira, yeah, that on one hand we say they're not supposed to really give back, right? Okay, and we say tshuvasom kosher. On one hand we say they're not supposed to really give back, they're supposed to make some friendly suggestions, sincere suggestions. Here we see the tshuva is difficult. Hashem will not forgive them because they stole from so many people. And second best is, even though you stole Reuven's perfume and he's still upset with you and supposed to get it back from you, in general, you can't really give this and that to him and her. You make a general tshuva and give something for the public. But again, why? Isn't it enough to just be sincere and the tzibur is not supposed to receive from you, the area, whoever, not supposed to receive from you that new water irrigation system? Yes or no? Are you really supposed to give back money or aren't you supposed to give back real money? Elaloi kasha comes the whole new answer. Kan koidem takanah, kan achar takanah. Oh, if you remember, we said that this Takanas HaShavim was an establishment of Rebbe, who lived obviously at the end of Mishnah times. And before the Takanah, there was no Takanas HaShavim. Before Rebbe, there was no such invention as Takanas HaShavim. Before Rebbe, really you're supposed to give back what you stole, good old-fashioned conservative way. And that Mishnah was written before Rebbe, or Brisa. In other words, Rebbe realized that there were, life before his Takanah, and he brought into the Mishnah. By the way, I'm not sure if it's a Mishnah or the Brisa because I didn't look it up. I could, 1 second, 1 minute. I think it's a Brisa. Gazlam, we don't have my Gemara here. I can look up in the Horus in the side. No, I think it's a Brisa. Whatever it is, it was before the times of Rebbe. So before the times of Rebbe, you're supposed to give back what you stole, good old-fashioned, good boy, and finished. And that Brisa was written then. You, Mr. Gazlan, you're supposed to give back to each and every person. And you do not know all your victims. Second best is to, open a new museum for children. Do something for the public, Bava Kama, even that's so. After the Takanah of Rebbe, everything changed. After the Takanah, Rebbe said, let's be nicer to the Ganovim, let's be more, humane and try and help them do tshuva. Otherwise, they would have done tshuva, as was a real case in the times of Rebbe. That's why Rebbe acted upon it. That Mega Gazlan stopped doing tshuva because of his wife's advice. And from her point of view, she was right. You'll never get out of it. Rebbe made the new Takanah, and that whole statement of the Roim Negazlanim is before the Takanah. Very easy, before and after. The Hashta, here comes another possible answer. Now, the Omar Rav Nachman, She'en Gzeila Kayemes. Oh, Rav Nachman, as I told you yesterday, makes a very, very big qualification here for the whole story. He says, when is it true? When is it true that the Gazlan's not supposed to give back, or only suggest, and we say, no. When is that? When the Gzeila, when the real perfume is not there anymore. They took the guy, he stole the guy's perfume, the guy's cheese, the roya, the guy's, and just not there anymore. The guy's shoes already worn, threw them out before Pesach, and then, only then we say Takanas HaShavim, you're not supposed to give back the cash value of what you stole. But if that yellow cheese is still nice and fresh in the fridge of Mr. Gazlan, and the expiry date is not there yet, you're supposed to give back the cheese, even though there's a limit to our liberalism and socialism here, and we say no. If the item is actually there, you're supposed to give it back regardless of anything else. Yeah, the only takanah is to start digging into your bank account. The guy ate the food. The guy already wore out the clothes. It's just not there anymore. For him to start calculating, he's going to have to pay, with all the money that he has or may not have, start running into debt. It's not feasible for him to do teshuva. And therefore, Rav Nachman said, only when the gzela is not there, we say Takanas HaShavim. Now, according to that, sheds a whole new light on the whole thing. That also helps us understand the contradiction between the Brisa and Takanas HaShavim. Let's continue to read. Even if you tell me that both Brisas are post takanah, after the takanah, it's not difficult. V'lo kasha. It's okay to say a Brisa that demands a return, even though it's past the takanah and post the takanah. Life is good. Very good. We talk, and here comes Ellen's question becomes much stronger now, and Tosa's answer. The Brisa that spoke about the roim and the gaboim and the moichsin, they take real items. They confiscate people's real thing. Yeah. So if the gzela is kayemes, if the gzela is still there, hardcore gzela, real thing, you're supposed to give it back. When Rebbe was being nice to the ganovim, he says you don't have to give back. I mean, you can try, but no, we're being softer on you. That's when the gzela is not there. It's only the cash worth. That Rebbe said that far we don't have to dig into their accounts and demand justice, till the last penny, because then he will just not do tshuva. The Ganovim will not do tshuva, as reality showed. Okay? Frag the Gemara, that's not so good. It's not so good. The Avnet, remember the story? What was the original story that triggered everything? The belt. Because of one woman's belt. Yeah, the belt, the sash. Buckle up, yeah? Yeah, right. Okay. So the Avnet, she told him, you, dear husband, Ganev, if you start doing tshuva, it's so nice you're trying to be frum on me, but now even the Avnet on your loins, yeah, will not be yours. That's not true. An Avnet is Gzela Kayemes, right? It exists. She pointed and she said, look, that's what we think right now. The belt on your trousers, on your pants, you're going to have to give it back, mashma. And then we said, no, dear lady, don't worry. He doesn't have to. We have Takanas HaShavim. We're nice. We're social. Why? She's right. Even after the takanah, Rebbe and his friends would yes demand the avnet because it's a real Gucci leather avnet. So that would, Takanas HaShavim doesn't work for that. So that's out of the discussion. It's like, deaf people conversation. Answers the Gemara, no, you got it wrong. My avnet, dmei avnet. No. The avnet she spoke about was not something, she didn't say this avnet. She said avnet sha'olecha. She meant the avnet that you bought once. Remember the avnet, the fancy Gucci that you once bought in the store without paying? You managed to get it out of that radar system, yeah, the infrared? No. That avnet worth 500 shekels, even that you'd have to give back in cash. And that says Rabbi, no, lady, it's okay, Mrs. Ganev's wife, Mrs. Ganovsky, it's fine. You don't have to give that back because it's cash that's already not here. I mean, the actual item is not here. The cash value, we're not asking back. But the real Avner that's right now on his body, yes, he would have to give it back even after Takanas HaShavim. Yeah, because we're trying to find the balance between being, strict and lenient. We say whatever he still has, that he does have to give back. Yesh gvul. Okay. Back the Gemara on the same venue, and here, by the way, Tosfos says that Giza v'cholov. The Tosfos that asks Alan's question and answers is right here. We're not reading it inside. Kan b'gzela kayemes. Yeah, let's read it inside. Let's see Tosfos inside. Rav Simkin likes it when we see inside Tosfos. So you're probably going to watch us later. Kan b'gzela kayemes. Look at Tosfos. It's a short Tosfos. Don't be scared. Kan b'gzela kayemes. Frek Tosfos. Tema roim my gzela kayemes ika. But the roim, how do you have an existing zela? Because the grass is already in the stomach of the sheep, or already in a different place. Yeah. So how can you have gzela of the shepherd that still exists? What is it? Shloimar answers Tosfos. The ayer bra behemoth shalachirim. He is actually roya behem of other people. He is a rented roya. Yeah, rent a roya, hire a roya. He's hired. He's a hired shepherd, as was very common then. The gun of man gives of a cholov. You see, I was wrong. He didn't steal from other shepherds. He stole from his boss. He's a roya. He's a babysitter. You have a dog sitter. It's a very choshev profession today, dog sitter. So he was a sheep sitter. Yeah, he was in charge of the sheep, the shepherd. And now those sheep, what do they have? They produce milk and also wool. And he stole from the boss. Instead of saying all for the boss, he stole from the boss. The Giza and Cholov, yeah. This particular shepherd is not suspected to go into other people's fields. Because the animal is not his, he's not interested in sinning for other people. There's a big yesod all over halacha. The person does not sin. The person who's generally Yerushalayim, Yetzirah bothers him. You can gain something if you steal. You take it for yourself or other affairs. But to be choite for other people, am I a friar? To lose the olam is the en olam haba? Israeli friar. Well, what do you mean? Okay, I'll steal from Reuven to give to Shimon. Mapitom. He's not such a devoted worker. Yeah, this is Reuven's animal. Why should he go to Shimon's field? So the issue here, Alan, is not the grass that they graze. No, the issue here is real cheese, real wool, real tangible things, which may be in his house of the roya right now as he wants to do teshuva. And he goes to the person. The person's supposed to tell him, oh, let's do an exercise. A ganef comes to you. You see that your yellow cheese or your wool is missing. Where is it? Comes the roya with big tears and he says, oh, I stole from so many people. I was a sheep sitter for so many. Now I want to do teshuva. I heard such a strong. The Levi was mischazik so much. Now I want to do teshuva. What are you supposed to say? He's supposed to say, depends. If you want to give me back real cheese that you stole yesterday and the wool that's still there in your house, please do give it back to me. Give it back to me. Thank you. I appreciate your teshuva. And I wish you success on your right path. Now, the new path. But if he says, I also stole 2 months ago, and the cheese is not there anymore, and the tzemer is not there anymore, and I still want to give you back the cash that it corresponds to, that you're supposed to say, no, that's okay. There's a gvul. You don't have to go dig that deeper, because otherwise, Mr. Roya, your teshuva process will be endless. That's B'kitzur. I want to read a few more lines, and then we're going to have a little bit of Ashkafa thing. Frag the Gemara. The kol heicha de gzela kayeme eslovad rabbanon takanta. Is it true to say that when the gzela is there, the gzela still exists? Lo over the rabbanon takanta. Is it true when the gzela is still right there and then existing, hard and kicking? Yeah, you say what? Live and kicking. Is it true to say the rabbanon did not make the takanah? Is that so? I'll prove you otherwise. I'll prove to you from a case. Yeah, from a Mishnah in it's brought down in Sukkah. Marish is not a Polish name. Marish is a plank, a beam. That's the word in English. A beam, B-E-A-M. A beam of wood. A beam of wood. What's a beam of wood? Let's see. A beam of wood still exists. And where is the beam of wood that we talk about? It's inside someone's ceiling or inside his wall. The guy have made a very nice new house. And every here and there, you see a strange looking, nice looking beam that he stole from someone else's backyard. Like kids, they steal the Lag B'Omer wood all the time. There's issues with them stealing it. So now, Vitnan, Alamarish Gozul Shabnooi Babira. A marish, which means the beam that was stolen, and he built it into the bira, into the fancy house. Bira is like a nice villa. It's a good looking house. He has a good looking. I think most mafiosos probably live in nice houses. I imagine, at least. Yeah. So now one of the beams is especially good looking, and it's stuck built into his house. Sheitol domov mipnei Takanas HaShavim. The Chachamim said you do not have to give back the actual beam, but you do have to take the money instead. In other words, let's say I go to the Gazlan's house, and the Gazlan now wants to do teshuva, and he cries with big tears and very sincere, and he says, I want to do teshuva. So shall I ask him, okay, you want to do teshuva? That's really nice. Wow. I really appreciate the change you made in your life. And say, you know what? I recognize that beam in the middle of the dining room, in the middle of the ceiling. That beam belongs to me. And I want you now to actually dismantle your entire house in order to get that beam out because I want it back. So that we don't say, because of Takanas HaShavim, it's enough to take the money. The beam was worth 500 shekels, give me 500 shekels. Why? But the beam is still there. The beam is still there, right? The mice of the beam, wasn't sold or burnt or not there. It is there right there, looking at me from the ceiling. And yet we're being nice to him with Takanas HaShavim. Answers the Gemara, a rather obvious answer, but we'll see Rashi also. Shiny Hossam, over it's different. If he's going to actually give me back the actual plank, the beam, he'll lose the entire house, or would need very, very serious renovations, because usually construction is one depending on the other. Shiur Rabbanon kedeleisa. Rabbanon made it shavua. They gave it the status, the shavot. They gave it the status kedeleisa, as if it's not there. Although the beam is looking at me and I can recognize its very specific, green color with green polka dots, still, because it's not really feasible to give it back, they considered it as if it's not there. However, 1 minute, I don't know if you noticed, there's a trick over here. Yeah, don't let me trick you. Usually, Takanas HaShavim means he doesn't have to give at all, right? Not even cash. Yeah, that shepherd, he worked for many people, and he stole a cheese here and wool there, mega. Now he wants to really do tshuva. What do we say? The cheese that exists, give it back to me. Expiry date, please, and give it back to me as long as the expiry date is not gone, yeah? But what about the cheese that he ate and the wool that he used already? What? He doesn't have to give back at all. Not even cash. Not even cash. Here, if you notice, what did we say? The beam, oh, look, it's there in the ceiling, is what? Supposed to give back cash, but not the actual beam, right? So it's not exactly the Takanas HaShavim either. Look at Rashi. Rashi said, yeah, the third wide line, the third line of the Amud. Did I make shako? Okay. Saving now from big Avera. Third line. Mishum pseda de bira shavir rabbanon kedeleisa. Umihu, however, Rabbanan said, because we're not going to ask you to destroy the entire house, they dealt with it, they gave it a status as if the beer, as if the plank is not there, as if it was sold already. So why do we ask for cash? Usually things that are completely gone, right? We don't ask for any return whatsoever. Answers Rashi, Umihu, Dami, which means what? Money, Dame, the money, Baila Aduri. The 500 shekels that that's nice being worth, he has to give it to me. Because it still does exist in the bira, which means there are three options. If the thing exists and I actually did hint it to you yesterday, if the thing is sitting at my table, easily returned, it can be easily be returned. I don't know, the jug, the vase, the cheese, still fresh, give it back. Very nice when you do tshuva. Good, so give back. What? It's not such a hard thing. The things are the other extreme. Things that are completely gone. He stole bike from many people. He stole car parts, and he sold them. That's not science fiction. Yeah. What? Yeah, that happens, I think, all over the world. No. And they sell the parts. Now what? It's gone. What is he going to do? Nothing. Suggest sincerely, try and give it back. But the victim can say, no, not even cash. You don't have to give anything back to me. Otherwise, it's a bottomless pit. The middle case is something that's there, but not there. Meaning, it's a beam inside the wall. It's physically there. Look, I can see the green with the red polka dots. It's there. It's my beam. And he knows it, and I know it. But because it's very difficult to give it back, because the loss would be immense, it's like redoing his entire house, then we say there's a middle ground. You give back not the actual thing to destroy it, but because it still exists in the world, you have to give back the cash that it's worth. He was half a second before. We should have a tournament here, England versus America. The difference between, I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but the difference, you see it, the more you learn Noshim Nezikin, the more you see that the difference between us and Chazal, not even nice to mention it together, is that we see things in a very, in a more narrow-minded way, as much as we don't realize it. In other words, we always see it from the eyes of who? Of the victim. I think everybody in this room, I don't think anybody in this room is professional Gazlan, I don't think so. And on the other hand, yeah, some people here in the room are mugged or burglared, or, you came home and you saw the house messed up with a burglar. So we tend emotionally, psychologically, to side with the victim over here. That's not fair that the God does that to me and he gets away with murder. But Chazal saw the bigger picture. Chazal see everyone's picture over here. Chazal say, we see the victim, but we also see a God trying to do tshuva, sincerely. And they're trying to find a healthy middle that would keep everybody happy and help people do tshuva. And eventually, If Ganovim have a way to do tshuva, no, I don't think they will actually raise the crime. I think in countries where they're being more understanding, as much as you won't believe it coming from my mouth, because I'm not a liberal Californian. I'm from Tel Aviv, but not that much. I am, yeah. Actually, in countries where they punish what's the names, not in a crazy way, but I don't have time to talk about it. I once read an article where they treat criminals in a way that's harsh, but also with justice and fair. There's less crime. In countries that go like that, like in schools where they don't allow the kids to do anything and they spy on them, what to do in the afternoon. Usually the kids are not better kids. Take it from a pained father. Yeah. The schools which are strict but understanding and there's flexibility, the kids are better behaved. And that's more or less the story over here, Bigadol. Same thing with the husband and wife and feminism and ksubas and yavomas. We see many times kilo that's a takanah for the benefit of the husband, even though they're few and far between. Usually it's not. It's a takanah for the husband that he has to give the ksuba ziburis, right? Why? It's not true for the woman. No. If men feel used and exploited in marriage, says the Gemara, they will not want to get married. They'll marry some woman b'chlal bli kesher, and the good wife, they would not want to marry somebody good. Why? Because she'll have too many demands, and that would destroy marriage, right? So mainly you have to look at the greater picture, not just what's happening right now. You have to look at what's going to happen later, tomorrow. What's going to be the social, ripple effect of the situation, and then you have to make a balanced decision that only Chazal can make to try and keep both sides happy and look at the greater good. That's what I have to say for Hashkafa. Very quickly, because we have to continue, and that's yeah. I don't mean to insult anybody. We're all human beings, myself included. Logic is a big word. Logic is a very big word. No, Chazal have better logic than us. With all that, I don't agree. Logic is a very big word. You speak to some koifer, very, very smart heretic from Hebrew University or Oxford, he will tell you that anything to do with soul or God is completely illogical because you can't test it in the lab. And all of us are crazy in his eyes. And we had said that he is illogical, that he doesn't see there's an Abishti in the world. Logic is a very dangerous big word. Everyone uses it for themselves. And the most logical thing is that all Jews should be out of here and the Arabs should control the country. Believe me, there are many big thinkers in the world who think that way. That's logic is a very, very, very flexible word. Chazal's logic is the Torah's logic of huge people. And but a very nice idea by Yaakov over here is a person now is driven by Yiras Shamayim, right? He was a terrible Ganav who did not care about the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now he really has fear of God within him. We want the tshuva to be because of fear of Hashem, not fear of people. Not because he says, now everyone's going to get the money away from me, and I'll get stuck without my money. He wants to know that he may or may not be able to be sued by people, and Hashem for sure will forgive him. His cheshbon is between Hakadosh Baruch Hu and him. Will give back the money? Possibly yes. At the end of the day, Tzvi, after, according to some Rishonim, I don't know la halacha, after a few times, if you insist, you take the money. So it's not a joke. As we read yesterday in the Shit Mukubetzes, it's not a joke of please, thank you. It's a real thing. He's running a risk of people, yes, taking it from him. Okay? So then he's playing the roulette. If people will take, that's real tshuva. But he also knows that it's not conditional. So his fear is the fear of Hashem and not fear of people. I like the idea very much. Thank you. And I think that's also logical. You're very logical. That's now we're about to embark on a difficult brisa. And this brisa is difficult in a way. I don't like to scare you off, but I just want to explain to you that it's one of those brisas that will basically translate the words into the best of my English. And then only then we'll really realize what's going on. Okay. In other words, we'll translate. You'll get some kind of maybe foggy kind of idea of what's going on. Bigadol, generally speaking, we'll see like two camps over here. And as we go along, it's going to go and unfold. Okay. So I'm just preparing you, but we'll definitely have to see Rashi here. It's one of those cases you have to see Rashi carefully. Says the Gemara. We saw in the Mishnah. Yeah, we saw in the Mishnah that if he was gozel, the para, which was already meuberes, the cow was pregnant, then the cow gave birth. We said that according to some Rishonim, that's not called shinui, right? From a cow to be pregnant and then non-pregnant is not enough of a shinui to say that now the ganav owns the cow, he has to give back the cow. Now the calf is most probably his. The new baby is a whole new creation that came to him. Now, if we say Shinu Koine, the baby cow, the calf belongs to the Ganav, and of course he has to give money. He has to give money like what? Not like the existing calf, like the calf was worth when it was in the tummy, in the womb. Yeah. In other words, let's say I want to buy from you. Let's say I have a pregnant cow, and the cow is in its 9 months, okay, 9th month, and now it's worth like a baby that's about to be born, hopefully Mazel Tov. Then I pay, I don't know, 500 shekels. After it's born, it's worth 1,000 shekels. The Ganav has the thing, the calf born by him, which is a big change before and after the birth. That's Shinui. So now he has to give 500 and keep the calf. Why 500? Because that's what he stole. He stole a 500 worth potentially born calf, and that he has to give in cash. The born calf is a whole new reality, so that he keeps to himself. Okay, if you say Shinui Koinu, that's generally speaking in the Mishnah. Tanu Rabbanan says the Brisa, a goizel rochel the gozezo the yoldo. I skipped the word poro because that's what the girsa is in Bava Metzia, and also here the Bach says you erase the word poro. Don't get confused. There are no cows over here. It's only a rochel, which is a sheep, a ewe. And what happened? Two things. After it came to the house of the Ganav, he shore it. Yeah, there was shearing of the wool. And Mazel Tov, she gave birth also. Shalom Zocher. Very nice. Two things. What does he have to give? Meshalem oisto bes gizosea bes vladosea divrei Rabbi Meir. To be translated simply, you guys are going to be happy. No shinui, no shminui. Rabbi Meir seems to be talking as if there's no, as if we thought before we started Bava Kama, give back everything. No shinui, no nothing. You have to give back the cow. You have to give back the baby. You have to give back the gizos, which are the wool. Everything give back, and that's about it. Strict, finished. The Gemara will discuss why is Rabbi Meir saying that. Does he not believe in any shinui, or is he giving a knas to the choita? Oh, you guys should be happy. Shaloyeh choita niskar. There's a concept in halacha. Shaloyeh choita niskar. We don't want the sinner come out to gain. We don't want the sinner to gain, to have profit. Said everything has to go back. That seems to be a Rabbi Meir story. Okay, that's a simple one. Rabbi Yehuda is a little bit more complicated. When it comes to Rabbi Yehuda, we'll have to read Rashi. Inside the Gemara first, please. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Gzeila chozers beineh. 3 words. What did he say? The actual gzeila, the stolen item, has to go back to the original owner as it is. Now that's not simple at all. Not simple at all. Look at Rashi. Gzeila chozers beineh. It's the second narrow line in Rashi. Gzeila chozers beineh. Says Rashi. There are 3 items you have to deal with over here. The sheep itself is now empty. It doesn't have wool on it. The wool is behim. Doesn't have a baby. The baby is behim. So the actual sheep, which was stolen, also, it was stolen with sheep with wool on it and with a baby inside of it, right? Okay. Now it's empty. Now it's sun. Those things. Let's say they're still by the Ganav. The actual sheep, give back as it is. Yeah. Now, what about the wool? What about the baby? What about the difference in price of the cow, of the sheep? The hadar comes number 2. Mishalem dmei gizois the ubar. You have to pay the money of the wool and the money's worth of the baby. The way they were in the times of the gzela, which means wool, when it's not yet shorn, when it's on the body of the sheep, is not worth as much as when it's off the sheep, right? And baby inside the womb is worth less, right? So it looks like you keep the shinui. Rabbi Yehuda is not as strict with the Ganav. Keep the baby, keep the wool to yourself, but you have to pay the way they were worth when you stole them, when they were still connected. Let's say sheep on the cow and baby in the cow or in the sheep, wool on the sheep and baby in the sheep are worth, let's say, 500 each. Now they're worth 1,000 each. You have to pay 500, which was original theft, and you keep the 1,000 to yourself. Shinui. Now continues Rashi. I already said it to you. I gave you an easy life. The shvach, the extra 500 that the baby is now worth for being born, being alive, and the 500 extra of the wool being out nicely there on the table. Rabbi Yehuda does not fine the Gazlan as much as Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says, give back everything. Rabbi Meir, everything back to the owner. Rabbi Yehuda says, hold it, hold it, hold it. Yeah, the cow he gives back, the sheep he gives back. He keeps the wool. Okay, good. And the difference, what he stole, the wool, the way the wool was worth when he stole it, that's what he has to give back in cash, which is not so difficult. It's really shinui. It's really shinui, right? What's shinui? Right? I stole the 200 shekel plank. Now I have 1,000 shekel chair. I keep the chair to myself and I gave you 200 shekels. So as much as I said Rabbi is difficult, it's quite easy to understand if you have the previous knowledge. Now, Aval Domim Shabashas Gzela, says Rashi, the money that it was worth at the time of the Gzela, let's say 500, which is the baby inside the mother or wool on the mother, that you have to pay. Hey, there's a limit. There's a limit, Mr. Ganav. We're not here completely in the jungle. Nobody in his right mind would say that the Gazlan has to pay less than what he stole. There's a limit, don't worry. Limit to our liberal socialism over here. Yeah, we don't say you pay less. So far, Rabbi Yehuda is not so hard to understand in the words. Okay, again, you stole a sheep. Yeah, you gave birth by you, and you shore the sheep. Oh, nice, that's nice wool. So what do? According to Rabbi Meir, at least comes to his door. Don't ask me about the Takanas HaShavim. Why? The Takanas HaShavim only applies to a mega ganav who stole from the entire New York. This guy is one off, 1, 2 off. But we do demand it from him. He can give it back and survive. He has his day job. So now, Rabbi Meir says, NYPD at his door, give back everything. Cow, I don't care, everything. Shevach, shmevach, give everything back. That's Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says, no. Rabbi Yehuda says, let's try and assess what's going on. The actual animal, give back. Yeah, the animal actually is the same before and after. Before birth and after birth, more or less the same, yeah? Now, what about the actual wool and the actual baby? He keeps them, because that's shinui. The shorn wool and the shorn and born. The shorn wool and the born baby, no question, are different. It's a whole new thing that came into his rishus. Oh, everyone screams, is a ganav gaining? He's not gaining. Because what did the guy lose, the original owner of the sheep? He was stolen. When she was stolen from him, she had wool on her body and she had a baby in her stomach. Okay, calm down. How much was the wool when it was stolen from you? 500. How was the baby? 500. Take 1,000 cash and say goodbye. And those items that are new is shinui koine. Yeah, it's not liberal. It's a Torah. Beshav Zakzela Shogozal. He did not steal a born kid. He did not steal shorn wool. And mimela shinui. That's the pastors. Maybe there's a knas. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't believe in knas. That's the gadol. Give me a second, Baruch. I promise I'll listen to you in a second. Just a third opinion, which we anyhow don't understand. We're just reading it. Rabbi Shimon Oimer, a third opinion. Rabbi Shimon says, back to the Gemara. We look at the ganav's stolen good and we assess it with money. The question is, Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda are saying the same thing. They both say you have to assess the value before and after. The Gemara is going to ask in Amud base, which we won't see today, I don't think even tomorrow. The Gemara is going to discuss what's the difference between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Yes. Also. Okay, I forgot to mention that chutz from the 500, you also have to give an extra 500 as kefil. Sometimes depends. Is the gun of Gazlan. I just don't mention it because we're going 2 more minutes. No problem. No, you're right, but it's an extra. I don't mention it every time again because it's just not so relevant. I'm saying you're right. There is kefil also. Yeah. No. I stand corrected. I just don't keep mentioning it. That's all. No. If you give back 500, mimele kefil 1,000. But if you have to give everything, a whole 1,000, then you have to give 2,000. I think so. Whatever he gives back, yes, nearly. I told you, this guy does not benefit from Takanas HaShavim because they one off. Yeah. Yeah, if he doesn't give back, he doesn't give kefil either. It's part of even worse. Think of that. You lose double of his whole property. Yeah, be nice to the gunner. Yeah, you use a little bit before. Okay, I think the shiur is over actually because with the time we finish the questions, we'll be 10:25. Okay, see you tomorrow, Mirza Hashem. I'm listening.
saying the same